All right, so again, my name is Eric Griffith. I'm the Director of Information Technology at Mechanicsburg Exempted Village School District. I just recertified for my Google certification class. That means I'm nerdy enough to repair Chromebooks and maintain a Google domain and all that stuff, so that was fun. But today I'd like to show you a extension that is a game changer for my school district. All right, so just to give you a little bit of a background of Mechanicsburg schools, we went one-to-one with Chromebooks about 4 years ago. Prior to that, we had several pilots and several tests. And there's a difference between just buying Chromebooks and throwing it into the classroom and expecting teachers to use it, and then actually successfully rolling out Chromebooks with the right amount of professional development and the right amount of understanding to get the job done, okay? And so that's what we did. We rolled it out slowly, but I was constantly asked, I want to take this web page, I want to take this worksheet that I've used for 112 years while teaching, and I want the kids to fill it out on your fancy Chromebooks, Mr. Griftastic. And I'm going, okay, well, we can do that. You just have to run through these 37 steps of converting this analog piece of data to a digital piece of data. So it's a bit frustrating and a bit of a turnoff for the majority of our staff, right? Well, a year ago, I happened to run into this company. Their name is Cami. And what they are is a extension that you can push out through Chromebooks that will allow students to annotate on top of PDFs. So we're going to run through the whole process of doing this today, installing it. In fact, I have a special promo code that will get you 31 days instead of the regular 14 days. Okay, so you get a little bit extended time to use this. And what it's going to do is allow you to annotate right on top of those PDFs. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how to do that, how to do all of that today. The only thing that might not work is me showing you how to put in the promo code because I've already done that on this account. But I have to use this account because I'm going to show you some things in Google Classroom as well as record. So it's tough for me to kind of switch between the two, but I've got links at the end under resources that are going to show you how to do that. All right. In addition, here's all my contact information. So you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Griftastic. Okay, so what is Cami? I sort of explained that a little bit already. It's an extension that we're going to install. Now, Mechanicsburg purchased this for our entire district, and we push this out to students. And for us, Mechanicsburg is a small school. I'd say it was under $3 for each person there, okay, to have this extension. So for us, it works out because it validates us being able to take a scanned document and type right on top of that. That's something that we needed. We typically used Adobe for in the past when we had PCs and did that stuff. So this is replacing that. Our building secretaries at one point had typewriters where they would just put it in there, feed it, and use typewriters. So this takes that place. You do need to use a scanner and scan the document in and turn it into a PDF. So hopefully most of your copiers have that capability to do that. I'm going to demo Cami and explain you some of the features and how we use it, and then go through some tips and tricks and give you that special code that will give you some extended days. So I'm going to jump out of the presentation and start to demo it now. But one real quick thing about Cami, I actually got to talk to the developers and creators of this application, and they're from New Zealand, right? So they sound Australian, so you have to forgive my New Zealand accent. It's not as good as my Australian one, but I'm going to go with it, right? So in talking with him, the original name of Cami was actually called Komi, right? So they say it's Komi because Komi in Japanese means paper. They thought that was a beautiful transition to using paper and then going to digital. I said, well, that's great, mate, but unfortunately, Kami in America is not something that's smiled upon anymore, right? So they said, yes, Eric, we understand. So that's why a few years ago we switched it back to just Cami. So they call it Cami, not Kami, even though it is pronounced and said that way apparently over there. So Cami is the name of what we're going, or Cami is the name of what we're going for. So I'm going to hit escape now and demo this solution. All right, so I'm going to jump into a PDF, and, well, let me ask you guys this. Would you rather get the link right now and install it first and work along with me, or would you rather me demo it first? Let's go show of hands who want to get it installed and play with it right now. Okay, let's go that route then. All right, so to do that, let's go to the very end where it says link to extension. You're going to click on that link to extension right there, and it's going to load you up to Cami, the PDF document and markup tool. Okay, you're going to click install on Cami, right? Once it's installed there, you're going to click on this link that says link to discount. All right. So what this does is it takes you to their website, which is camihd.com. Once you go there, it's going to have you click and log in through Google Apps. All right. So that logs in and authenticates that it's you. Once you do that, now this is where I'm not quite sure it'll pop up for me since we already own it. It's going to say, hey, which account are you validating? I'm going to choose my school one, even though I've already paid, we've already paid for it and pushed it out. And from a tech director standpoint, it's very easy to deploy. It took less than a minute to send this out. Then it's going to say, okay, go ahead and enter that coupon code. All right. So if you were questioning whether or not I spoke with these people and convinced them to give me a coupon code, you need not question it anymore because that coupon code is called Mr. Griftastic. All right, all one word. So typing in Mr. Griftastic, which I will jump over to this page here and show you the spelling of that. MRGRIFFTASTIC will get you 31 days to play around with this application to decide whether or not it's good for you. You can also pass that link on to your students as well and use this in the classroom if you want to try this in the appreciation or the hope that you could purchase that for next year, okay? So this works everywhere. All right, so you'll type in Mr. Griftastic. That's going to get you a discount code. The next step is you're going to receive an email from someone at Cami that gives you the actual code that you paste in, or I'm sorry, I think it's an activation link. You get an activation link, you click on that, and that validates your account, okay? So your account will look like this, which is what I'm about to show you. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to open up a Google Drive, and I have a folder of PDFs that I call sample PDFs. Okay, and the first one I'll look at here, nope. This is a good one. This is one that I scanned in, and you notice it opens up with Cami. Now this may have writing on it already. Yes, it does. So let's see if I can download this without annotation. Okay, so you did this before. This is just and here. Drive your computer. Yeah, on internet. So what's going to happen is I click download, and I should get a download button here. It's going to download it without any annotations on it, and then I can demo this. However, if that doesn't work, I'm just going to hit cancel right now and show you some of the things that people have already done here. So let's see if I can't delete them. All right. So this is a messy sheet, unfortunately, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what it does. So when I clicked on Cami, it opened up. Now, when you click on a PDF within your Google Doc and it doesn't open with Cami, up at the very top, there's going to be a button that says open with. You click on that, and then Cami is one of those options, okay? So your tech director or technology integration specialist could show you, hey, this is how to make it by default open for that every time. However, I would encourage that you don't do that right now. There are some applications that when you click on this and you click to download a PDF, it says failed to load, Cami couldn't open this. Okay, so I would only open it, and that's just for you though. And it's typically reports from third-party solutions that our schools use. It just doesn't work well. However, for our students, I would encourage them to say, okay, make this the default application to open with. And you know what, I'll go ahead and show you that right now. So if I'm in Google Drive and I want to ensure that Cami is my default application that I open documents with, I'm going to click on Settings and then Manage Applications, and I'll go down and find Cami. And it says Use by Default. If I check that Use by Default, anytime I open up a PDF, then it's going to open up with Cami. If I uncheck that, it'll use the default, which is Google's default PDF open up error, right? So that's a real thing. All right, so anyway, jumping back into Cami, if I've opened up Cami, I'm going to show you the power of this tool. You can already see that collaboratively I've had my administrative team screw with this document as well, while I was away. So, but how this works is you can actually write on the document. So I'm going to show you how that works right now. And again, based on whether or not you've registered the document or registered this application, and based on the fact that you have signed in and authenticated that you are you, yours might not look exactly like mine, okay? But I guarantee you once you go through the steps and you register and all that stuff, yours will look like mine, okay? So first of all, one of the most powerful things is that text box, right? If I want to write and let's say fill out a question on this, right? If I wanted to type my name right here, I could click the text button and I could choose a font. We'll choose black, and then I'm just going to click anywhere and start typing, right? So from there, I just started to type and I filled out an answer, okay? So then I can click on this answer and notice it has my initials to the left of that, EG. Now the reason that is because this has some of the same collaborative Google juice that Google Docs has. You can have a PDF and you can share it as long as it's in Google Docs and you share it with all those students. They could collaboratively work on this document. And you can see who did what based on those initials as they appear next to the object that they've created, okay? So if I want to move that around, I click on that text again and I find those crosshairs. And then from there, I can move that around. I can adjust the font, I can make it larger. I can change the color. I can change a lot of different options. I can trash it. Let's see if I do this, change the color, make it purple, blue, different things like that. I can do that. And so even if I had to just scan a document and fill it out really quick, even if you didn't want to pay for this solution and you wanted to use the free portion of it, this is just a great tool to have in your Google arsenal. But the reason why we paid for it is because of some of the automatic saving features that they've turned on once you do pay for it, okay? So once I open up the document and it's in my Google Drive, automatically, if I go over to here, the save button, and I click on it, automatically all the changes are saved, right? And again, this is because I paid for this version. Now, you know from dealing with technology, when we had Microsoft, right? We would teach our kids that every few minutes when they're typing, they need to do what? Save. Do we teach that anymore? No, we don't. However, Cami realized that, hey, that's something that we can charge for, right? So I realized, hey, that's probably something I want to pay for since we don't teach them to save what they're doing anymore, right? So that's one of the reasons why I dropped, $1 into the hat. So I figured there's about $3 I have to verify for every kid to do this, all right? Every kid and every staff member in the district. So that was one of the dollars that I said, okay, that's worth $1. Automatically save it, okay? So the next is it's saved constantly. I'm doing this. So if let's see, click here, start typing, I'm moving this around. If I have kids fill this out and I'm working on a document, right? And then once they're in Google Classroom, I have them turn that back into me. I'm going to demonstrate how that works too. I have them turn that document back into me. Typically, if I'm grading in the classroom, we open up the document and we go over it as a class, right? I'm not going to go through this document one by one and grade it. But for the student who is absent, right, I'm going to provide feedback to that student. I'm going to say, hey, you missed this option. I needed you to do this. And there's a couple of different ways I can do this. If based on how they did this graph, I found that it wasn't accurate, I can go over here to the comment section. and then I can click on the comment right here. And then over on this side, it's got that same Google juice built into it. It says, hey, you have the ability to comment. But wait, that's right. I'm going to say that again because I like the enthusiasm from this side of the room. But wait, that's what I was waiting for. Thank you. There's more. There's that little microphone button, right? So for us educators who have gone through and painstakingly inserted comments into documents and typed them in and again and again and again, this has the ability to click and record your voice. Okay, so you can still provide feedback, meaningful feedback to those documents. So I'm going to show you how that works. If I clicked on that comment and I inserted it right there, I can either type something or I can click right here. I have to click allow because Google's not creepy and they can't listen to you willy-nilly, right? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hit stop. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Exactly. All right. So there, my comment is then recorded. So I'm thinking this can reach multiple grade levels at this point, even those grade levels that have difficulty reading. If they're just circling or doing, they know that they can click on there and they get to hear their teacher give them feedback. What a cool application, right? So boom, there's dollar number 2, okay? I can have this automatically saved for my kids, and you get another dollar for allowing me as an educator to provide meaningful feedback, either vocal or typed, okay? So there's my commenting feature. I can add text. A lot of the same basic stuff that I could do if I need to go through and mark up a document. I have the ability to strike, to highlight, to do a lot of stuff. Thought I muted you, buddy. Here we go. To, strike through, to highlight. But the last thing that they're getting a dollar for, all right, is the ability to draw and annotate on that. Now, Google Keep already does a little bit of this functionality, but the process, if I were to turn this into a Google Classroom solution, right, and I wanted a complete workflow where I pass this out to the kids, they annotate on it, and they turn it back in, Google Keep doesn't fit in that as easily as this application does. So they get my third dollar for this solution right here. Okay? So it's drawing, right? I could go down here and I could go to the text button and I could fill a greater than or equal to, right? Right there. And I could fill that in each time, right? And it would take the kids a little bit more time to click and type and fill that out each time, right? Click and type and fill it out. Or I can go to this drawing feature. Now, for this drawing feature, by default, the stroke thickness, which means how thick when you draw the line, that's in pixels. How thick that is 6 pixels wide. I'm going to reduce that down to about 2 pixels. Okay? So my line's just a little bit thinner. And I'm going to change my color to red so everyone can see that. So at this point, I can go through and say, hey, you know what? That is greater than that. Right? So I can actually go in and write on this. Now we've tested this on touchscreen devices and it works out well. Okay, this works on touchscreen devices that you can actually click on drawing and do that. So we're getting into the realm where math is going to start being easier and easier when we have touchscreen devices. Okay, so with this application that works. If I need to circle one of these, I can do that too. If I need to insert a shape, I can click on shapes and I can circle an oval around a shape. Again, I can change the color. At any time, I can click on this, right? All those are linked to me. I can adjust the thickness, which they call the stroke, right? I can click there, adjust that, adjust the color. Okay, so I have the ability to edit and annotate on top of this. All right, so pretty neat. That's how this works. You have all those features, all right? So they already got my $3 right there, okay? Now, here's the bonus dollar, which if in a school district tipping was accessible, I would tip them for this one, all right? How many times have you had to send something home and mom or dad had to sign it, right? It happens. We're still tied down to that digital solution there, right? So from this one, I'm gonna need a demo from the audience, somebody who has their phone handy. I'm going to have you type in a link and then sign something. I'm looking for somebody who's financially set, too, for no reason. Yes? Ditfield? All right, so here's the deal. Ditfield, he rolled up in his Corvette this morning, so I know he's good to go. All right, so I'm going to say insert a signature, and then I'm going to click this button that says draw signature on phone. I'll click this button, and then Brian, if you could, actually, no one, I'll send this to you. What's your email address? DITFIELD. BRIAN.
DITTFELD at ivschools.org.
.org. Okay, so I'm going to click in send email. So did that work? Yep.
I don't have it yet. Oh, there it is.
Okay, so Brian right away got a signature. Okay, and if I was better prepared, I should have had my document camera plugged in. Should have had Brian come up and show you that he got a email. He clicked on that email, and then he's signing his name right now on that. And as soon as he hits send, it's going to appear right back here. Okay, all right, and then you hit send. So Brian hit send. Within 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right there is his signature. That's pretty damn impressive because I counted down. That's the only reason why it's impressive. But his signature appeared right there. Okay. Now, what doesn't happen, this is why we use Brian, because he's financially independent and he's smiley too. We use Brian because now I have his signature and I can click insert this signature and I will drop that signature right there at the bottom of the document. So that means mom and dad can sign it digitally, right? And they can do it right from the phone. That's becoming more and more a thing. That's why I would tip them for. This is not really a feature I would absolutely use, but it's a pretty neat, yeah, it's not a signature. He knows better. He's going to be like, I didn't buy a Corvette. They're like, and 2 days later. So the deal is, that's not Brian's signature, but you see how easy that was. I typed in that email address, it went to the phone, they got an email, they signed it, and they're done. Yes? Sorry, Shannon.
See that PDF.
So that's the thing I was starting to say. He did not get a copy of the PDF. Okay, so here's my tip for best practice. You don't like the parent. No, I'm just kidding. Here's my tip for best practice. Send that document to them and say, you're also going to receive an email that says, please sign here. It's related to the document I just sent you. They have not yet integrated where they get a copy of that yet. I think they were focusing on proof of concept that they could get that done really quick, right? I think later they're going to go back and integrate it to where the signature pops up and you see what they're signing. So in the event that the parent comes in and they need to sit down and talk to you for some reason, right? You could have them sign the document electronically, but at that point, maybe paper is the better bet because you've already printed it out. But in the fact that the mom and dad just left and they were supposed to sign this document, you easily scan it, shoot that link and say, I needed you to sign this, I'm so sorry, right? So this is a cool little feature, and that's why it would be my tip, right? I tip the company for this because it's not a feature I use all the time, but man, when I did, that, having did feel buy me a Corvette really did pay off, then that would be great, all right? So that solution is really neat. I can insert just a quick little drawing right there, but they took it one step further and they said, we want to insert an image. So you can also go through your Google Drawings and you can insert an image, right? So if I had a dancing minion right there, I can click insert and pop an image right in there on top of that. So any images that you already have within your Google Drawing. So if you're grading something, and let's say you have a collection of stickers, right? Let's bring this back to old school. You have a collection of stickers that you've saved. You drag and drop stickers in, right? Was that your question about did you see it? Sims? Yeah. So if you have that capability, you can still insert. If you have stickers like that, you can go in and insert stickers on the page, whatever you want. So all in all, a pretty neat application. They also have the ability to go over here and convert text to speech. Not had a lot of success with that because typically the PDFs I'm pulling down, I'm scanning in and they don't translate really well. So I'm going to say that's my fault because I'm sure you guys have worksheets and dittos and different things, and over time they've degraded. It's like that movie Multiplicity, right? right? Where the third clone is kind of like, I thief, Dittos do the same thing due to copy degradation, right? So it might not be able to read it that great, right? But anyway, this application worked really well. I was very impressed with it, and I said, you know what, gotta have it. So what I did is I spoke with the company. I said, if you would be willing to discount that price, I would be incredibly thankful to you. And then I would go out and I would present on behalf of you as well. So they knocked off the price for us a little bit, which helped out. But on average, it's around $3. Oh, there goes my internet. On average, it's around $3.
One time or per year?
Good question. Per year. So that is unfortunately, because it's an online service and they continue to do that, it's tough. I would almost say we're out of the age where we pay one time for software that's on Chromebooks. Ditfield, would you agree? I mean, unless it's a license to run a Chromebook, it's kind of a one-time thing. But a lot of the folks I work with now is a year-to-year subscription. So IT directors, finance folks, as you're planning to use this, we went with this solution because it replaced Adobe Acrobat Pro for us, being able to edit and manipulate PDFs from that aspect. Okay. So I'd like to then, first of all, are there any questions on that use case, how we would use it, any other things while I quickly take a sip here?
The audio capture feature, can it convert audio to text?
It does not. So the question was, can the audio capture feature, does it convert audio to text? No, it does not. However, if you use Google Keep, that would be a way, if you open up Google Keep, it will convert audio to text, and you can copy and paste. So there is a transition for that. In addition, when you're in a Google Doc, you could turn on text-to-speech dictation, and that will dictate for you. I think this feature was more for audible feedback for maybe perhaps younger grade levels. Okay? Good question. All right, so let's look and see how this works from a Google Classroom solution, right? So I'm logged in as we have GoGuardian at our school, and I do quite a bit of testing for GoGuardian for Teacher, which is another application. But in this instance, I'm going to send out a sample PDF that I want all of my students to work on. So I'm going to show you how a teacher would send this out so that it will make a copy of the PDF for each student, and then the student will fill that PDF out and send it back to you. So it's what I call a workflow, right? And this is probably something that if you're going to go back and teach your teaching staff how to use this, they already have a ton of worksheets or dittos, different things like that. This is step one to get them started. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of cost for Cami, but there's a price to pay for going digital. It's not free. So we'll call the sample. I'm going to attach one of these PDFs here and click one here. Hopefully this is the blank one. And right here, there's an option that says students can view the file, right? So if this was a set of instructions that you're doing for Google Classroom, you'd add those instructions. Students can edit the file. You could still do this with Cami. If you have a worksheet that was a collaborative group project, right, and 4 students needed to turn it in, you can differentiate that instruction and only send it out to 4 students or one of those 4 students, and they all have to collaborate on the project because Cami works just like a Google Doc. Multiple people can be on that at the same time and edit it. So that's why they got one of my dollars, right? So, but I want the one that says make a copy for each student, right? So I'm going to say make a copy for each student, and then I'm going to click assign, right? So right now this is being sent out to my students. So if I did this right, I've logged into incognito, and I am in as one of my students. Or am I in as one of my, yep, I'm in as one of my students. I'm going to hit refresh, check my stream, all right? And I have this assignment. I'm going to hit open. Yeah, I don't need to know how to do this, all right? And I'm going to click on the PDF, and notice at the top it says open with Cami. Dagnabbit, I sent the same stinking PDF. All right, I meant to click the other one. I can click open with Cami. That student's going to open that document, and it says, okay, first you have to hit okay. They have to authenticate to Google Drive. This is a one-time step for students if they have their own Chromebook. But if you share carts or different things like that, each time they log in, they just have to authenticate. So just a couple of clicks, and then, hey, they have that document, okay? So then the student goes through, you've already had a training session where they go through and they are marking up the document, right, as needed. And because we paid for this, and through the magic of Google, it's already in their Google Drive and it's already saved, they don't have to do anything else. Once they're done here, I know it's automatically saved. Just to verify that, if I go up here, I can say, hey, all changes are saved, okay? So from the student's perspective, they worked on it, they're done, they go back to this document, and then it says turn in. They click turn in, it says, hey, that's the document, that's the name of the document, and then their name attached to it. Do you want to turn it back in? Yes. So that's all that happened. So that is far less steps. And for me, that's almost worth $2. Let's not tell Cammy about that, right? But that's worth some money to get that ease of use. Because the goal for me for technology is to take the frustration out, right? If it can't be just as easy as pencil and paper, I question whether or not we need to use it. Unless we're going forward and that's the direction of your district, and hey, even though it's a little bit more frustrating, we still want you to go that route. To me, it's worth a couple of bucks per kid per year to make this easier, all right? So we've turned it in. The student can go back to unsubmit, right? I'm going to jump back to my side, the teacher side, and I see that one kid has turned it in. If I click on that, I can see that student one has turned it in. And when I click on this, I should see that, I didn't. I was going to say I should see the okay, but I don't. So I must have did that wrong. But what I can do is I should be able to click on that and it should say okay right there. Oh, maybe I have to open it in Cam. Come on, demo. Okay, there it is. Yep. So I opened it up in Cami and there it is. So that's how that worked. I can still see that student's grade, right? So if I still need to go through and grade it, as long as it's opened back up in Cami, it's working well. So that workflow, it's a couple of steps. It took a little bit of time to set up for a tech director, for me. It took a little bit of training involved on my staff to show you, hey, this is how this application works, right? But the benefit is you're taking some of those analog tools, analog resources that we've paid money for, that we've worked on for years and years, and we're not saying, oh, they don't mean anything anymore, right? Because to me, that's insulting as an educator to say, hey, you've spent a ton of work curating all these resources, and hey, we're digital now, get with the program or get out, is sometimes the message that's conveyed. So this validates, this allows you to take those analog documents, bring them in digitally, and still allow them to be filled out. There's no difference other than the fact that we're using 21st century tools, okay? Any questions on that? Yay, nay? How many of you think this is a good tool and you'll probably go back and use it? Okay, a few of you. How many of you think that's not worth the $2, the $3? Be honest. Not worth it? Not worth it? No.
Well, we're gonna use it, but we'll use the free version.
You'll use the free version, and you're going to have to teach them, all right, it's a couple of extra steps. They're going to have to download the file, they're going to have to re-upload it to Google Drive, and then they're going to have to do this. So as long as you can teach those steps, then don't pay for it. I went ahead and paid for it because I've already caused the frustration on my teachers. I thought, I'm taking that out of my budget. We'll use this. Now, so many years down the road, if I don't see the same level of innovation, where they're constantly updating, about 3 weeks ago, they changed this toolbar. It looks a lot better than it did now. So if I don't see that same level of innovation, then I'll probably stop paying for it and we'll just keep with the free version. Now, the other reason I like this is because up here at the top, they're going to be changing this toolbar too. They're going to have a turn in to Google Classroom button up at the top. They're going to have a send out to email button, right? So that as soon as you export the document, how you would do that now is you click this download button and it says, what do you want? Do you want the file plain, which is how it was sent, or do you want it with annotations, okay? So if you choose with annotations, it's going to prepare it with annotations and then get ready to send it out, all right? So I just want one button that dumps annotations in it and attaches it to an email in my PDF. Okay, so that's something they said, hey, yeah, that's great. We'll update and add that in the next version. Okay, so to me, that a company that is going to continue to make changes and do that is worth it. Yes,
You're
Pete?
kind of reporting to see how many people are actually using it. I mean, I just question how many. In the elementary school, we have
Sure.
lots of worksheets, but we're doing it in middle school. How do you know how many people are actually using it in any particular location to know whether it was worth your investment?
Aside from constantly doing PD on it for like 2 months, I don't really have any
No analytics or anything.
analytics. I use GoGuardian though, and what I can detect is how many times the kids go back to this website, which is web.cami.that. So I can look on that, but I have a third-party tool that measures what they're doing. So quite a bit. It's in the 60s of the grade levels that do this that have Chromebooks.
That's a lot.
It is percentage-wise, yeah. So yes, sir.
Um, when do you think that will a free version have the ability to send to classroom and support from the classroom?
Probably not.
No.
I know. Yeah. So the deal is, I don't think the free version has the signature feature either. So if you just signed up today, I don't think it has the signature feature. I don't think it has the ability to insert pictures. I don't think it's collaborative. So they have to. I mean, everybody has to make money. I get that. You know, not everybody's Google and has shopping bags full of money, you know, in the corners of their office just for insulation, right? So I get they have to make money. You're laughing, but they do. That's it. They're like, it's just money. So the deal is, I get it, and I'm more than willing to help support companies that do this, especially if I can help them out and resell it and they'll lower the price for me. So that's why I think that this was a beneficial solution, and I was happy to pass it along to you. So any more questions on that?
When, and I'm sure I already know the answer, but I'll just say ask.
Mm-hmm.
When I download that, if I make any annotations to that, I kept the original document. This is just a download that gets changed when I save it, that it doesn't override the original.
So the question is if I've taken this document and it's inside my Google Drive, right, and I've annotated on top of it, does that override the document? The answer is yes. But as long as you have Cami, you can download it with or without annotations, and that's what that screen means. So those annotations are over top of the document. It's just another layer, and that's what Cami looks at. But if you need to take those annotations off, then you click the download without annotations, which means original. It takes it off. So it's just a layer on top of there that Cami keeps track of. So good question. So the other thing I'd recommend against is we talked about blacking out information, right? If anything on here was confidential and I needed to black out some information, how I would do that now is I would print it out, take a Sharpie, and just make a copy and then send it back to somebody. But before I even print it out, I can create this box and block that out, and I can start to block that information out, and then I can print it out and give it to the parent. However, if I send that to the parent with those annotations, they should be able to click on it and move it around. So it's not something you want to do, but if it's just the ability to annotate on top of that, that's fine. Now, what I would do, here's what I expect too. In the next couple of years, I fully expect Google to have something like this built in and integrated. When it feels like I'm neither allowed to confirm or deny that. It's so far in Google's pocket, whatever. So the deal is, part of my Corvette. Yeah, so the deal is, I would expect them to do that. So when I look to purchase applications like this, it's a transitional period. I'm still looking for what's going to be better. This for me filled the void of I needed to take some of those analog resources that teachers have worked on and curated for years and years and turn this and continue to make this valid. So this fit in our wheelhouse perfect. So if it works for you, that's great. I'm glad I was able to show you and give you some examples of how it works within Google Classroom and that kind of stuff. But if it doesn't and you want to continue to wait until Google comes out with their version of this, that's great too. They probably won't do the cool signature thing. That's pretty cool. But it is still a great solution. So any other questions before we close? I think,
Eric,
yes.
have you experimented with any other PDF editors before you guys purchased that?
I did. There was one. Does anybody know the name of the other PDF editor that's really popular? That one, it didn't work out for us for some reason. We had some sort of an issue with a third-party application that we used. So we went with this one. It's dot. What is it called? So it just didn't work for us. I happened to call this company and they reduced the price enough where I said, I'm going. So that was our major goal with it. So plus it's kind of cool. The signature thing was kind of cool, but.
Did you ever try Lumen?
Is it?
Lumen PDF?
Lumen, haven't heard of that one, no. So a lot of the other PDF ones that I tried, they're free, but they stopped working after a while. They had a limitation of the amount of data that you could upload to them. They didn't integrate with Google Docs, different things like that. This is the one that I found that fit all of our bills. So, great. All right, any more questions? Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
I know.